We're here at the Norman Balzer farm sale just outside of Leduc, Alberta. David and Aileen reached out springtime this year, informed us that they had quite a collection that we were obviously interested in coming out to look at, to say the least. The collection exceeded our expectations. It wasn't anything that we were kind of expecting.
Norman was born in 1939, and that was the year the Queen came to Edmonton. In fact, it was the day. As a child, Norman was a collector. All his Christmas gifts, including an airplane in a box, which he still has, and all his curling prizes are still in boxes. And with tractors, I think it started by Norman driving around, seeing old tractors in somebody's yard or in a field, and he would go and ask, "Do you want to sell it?" And Norman, I believe, started his collection by going around and picking up these cheaper tractors that nobody wanted. Going way back when Norman started his collection, he got a guest book. People came from all over the world to see Norman's tractors. The one time he was so proud, he said, "Aileen, these people went to the John Deere place and wanted to look at tractors, and they said, you go to Norman Balzer's." And Norman was known to have the biggest John Deere collection, I think, in Canada. And he called it John Deere Heaven.
There is a lot of stuff in here that you don't see at the everyday sale. The magnitude of it for sure stands out, but yeah, once you take a deeper dive into some of the refurbished tractors, the painted tractors, some of the original tractors, it's pretty impressive. You can walk down any list or any line of equipment here and find pretty unique pieces across the board of this set.
I've really learned that the culture of the John Deere tractor is enormous, like the stories and the people that collected them. One of the most special items in the collection on September 9th will be auctioned is the Model D 1953 Streeter. Way down in Ohio, they decided to refit the factory to create a different tractor. What happened was people kept ordering the D, which was a very, very famous long-serving tractor for people. Responding to the orders that were still coming in, some of the factory managers got together and said, well, you know, we do have enough parts to probably piece together or cobble together a few more Ds. And the guys that were doing the retrofit of the plant said, so, time out, we're already started. We can't do that. Well, we'll build them in the street. So a Streeter is the last 96, I believe, tractors, Model Ds built in the spring of 1953, and they were built in the street. And we believe that Norman had the only one in Canada.
Everything since Norman's owned it has been shedded, so everything's in the condition he bought it in. If he hasn't refurbished it, it's just how he bought it, and a lot is refurbished too. Anything painted, anything like that has been stored inside. For buyers coming to take a look, a few local antique experts will be involved heavily, and they'll be here for all viewing days to answer any questions. And I advise all people, if they can, to get out here and take a look at it. It's more impressive in person than it even is online.
Just this last while, I've gone out when a vehicle came and I would talk to them. It just made me feel so good, because they would say, Norman bought a lot of tractors from me. That was at Smoky Lake. And he said, I want to see how many tractors are still here. And then he said, that grader, he bought that from me. And it was just so nice. And everybody has so much nice things to say about Norman. It just makes me feel good. I don't like to see the tractors go, but knowing the circumstances, I know they would go to a nice home, somebody who enjoys them. And I think they will go, because all John Deere people have pride in their tractors. And we're very fortunate to have Ritchie Brothers looking after us.
It might seem fairly obvious, being an Edmontonian, driving literally past Ritchie Brothers, I believe international headquarters, that we would naturally just gravitate to Ritchie Brothers. But it wasn't, because I think it was part of my responsibility as administrator trustee for Norman to seek out the best scenario for the family, not just maybe what was more the obvious. Now, I could have stopped with Ritchie Brothers, When I found out the two fellows that came were Carson and Carson, it was the personality, it was the plan that they had for the auction from start to finish as explained to us. It was the technology. I mean, that was phenomenal. Obviously the history. As a business person and an accountant, businesses don't survive because they're not good. Businesses survive because they are good and they do what they say they're going to do. You know, I've been aware of how extensive the Ritchie Brothers reach is and how many individuals they contact and connect with. And that's very, very impressive and necessary for us to maximize the benefit to the family of Norman's hard work.
As a territory manager, I think it's really important to establish the relationship, get the wants and needs out of the family, and walk through that process from there. We're fortunate at Ritchie Brothers to have avenues or ways of going about selling equipment that really we can find the fit for anyone. But before we even get into contract signing and dates and stuff like that, it's really important for us to understand and get that connection with the family to ensure we can meet their wants and needs exactly how they expect it and how they envision it, and hopefully go above and beyond what they want.
Carson Welke, right from the start, you just felt like you were in the presence of somebody who had done this. And yet, he did show that he had a lot of questions about what was here and what our needs were. I have changed recommendations that he's made about 4 times, and every single time he said, I'll get that done. No, that's Carson. Customer's number one. You can tell with Ritchie Brothers.
Being able to sit down at the kitchen tables and meet these families, hear about their stories, histories of the farm, that's what makes it special for me and what I enjoy about the job. And hopefully by the end of going through the sales process, we can be a platform to enhance kind of their going out, either it's a retirement or moving on from some of that equipment. So just enhancing that farm legacy and reputation and hopefully bringing it to the fruition that it deserves. So starting September 3rd through 9th, 9 to 5, we'll have open inspection dates for everything on site here. Outside of those times, if you'd like to call in and pre-arrange something, we can definitely make that happen. But everyone's more than welcome. The gates will be open from the 3rd to the 9th, 9 to 5. We'll have people on standby here to answer any questions, kind of tractor experts and antique guys around to answer any questions and give you a full background and full information on some of these unique tractors for sure.